Brother Chidi, could you please say a short prayer before we start the class?
Okay, oh Lord, our Heavenly Father, we thank you for today. We thank you for the opportunity to gather here. Thank you for Dr. Thomas and other hosts who are facilitating this important session. Father, we pray that you give them the knowledge and wisdom to direct and to inform us of what is very important in our daily lives. Father, for all the people who are here too, may we benefit from it. May we gain things that will continue to build us up, to make it live better lives, healthier lives. All this we pray and more in Jesus' mighty name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Brother Chidi, for that beautiful prayer. Now we will go into the question and answers for the questions as people are slowly joining. We don't want to waste any time. Manjula, could you please go ahead and start with the answer to the questions, please?
Hear me?
Yes, please.
Okay. Okay.
Speak little loud, okay?
Okay. There are about 4 or 5 questions. Let me start with the first one. The first question is, can we blame spouses, friends, and family members if someone has mood swing problems? The answer is we cannot blame a person's spouse, friends, and family for their mood swings. Mood swings are a complex issue with various potential causes, many of which are internal and beyond the control of others. Mood swings are often a symptom of an underlying medical or mental health disorder, such as bipolar disorder, borderline personality disorder, depression, or hormonal imbalance. These are biological issues, and placing blame on loved ones is wrong and it's unfair. For many people with mood disorders, mood shifts are involuntary and difficult to control. For example, during a depression episode, a person's perceptions and emotions are altered, and their behavior is not a conscious choice to be difficult or hurtful. Family and friends of a person who has mood swings should remember that they didn't cause it. They can't cure it or they can't control it. This principle applies to many mood related issues, clarifying that a loved one is not responsible for another person's conditions. A person with a mood disorder who struggles with accepting their diagnosis or feeling guilty about their behavior may project blame onto others as a defense mechanism. In such case, the family members or spouse becomes the target of their frustration. And the second question is, can the caregiver of a mental person experience stress and burnout, and what are the symptoms? And yes, a caregiver of a mentally ill person can definitely experience stress and burnout with common symptoms including emotional exhaustion, irritability, and physical ailments like headaches and sleep problems. Other signs include changes in appetite, loss of interest in one's enjoyed activities, withdrawal from social life, and feelings of hopelessness or being overwhelmed. And the third question is, why does faith in God slash superpower have conflict with mental health treatments? So the conflict occurs when mental health issues are misunderstood as a moral or spiritual failing. Some individuals may view their mental illness as a sign of a lack of faith, causing them to feel shame or unworthiness. The belief that prayer alone should be enough to resolve suffering can prevent individuals from seeking professional care. This can delay or obstruct treatment. Another reason is that a person's struggle may be incorrectly interpreted as demonic possession. Individuals may worry about being judged or excluded by their faith community for admitting to mental health struggles. Some religious leaders or community members may not trust the secular mental health providers, viewing them as a threat to faith. Some may believe that all healing comes from God, which can clash with reaching out to a therapist. A psychologist explains mental illness through brain chemistry, trauma, and behavioral patterns. This can seem contradictory to a spiritual patient. This created an unsupportive environment for religious people. Fourth question is, what is your understanding of walking on eggshells in relation to mental health? Walking on eggshells in relation to mental health means being cautious around someone to avoid triggering a negative reaction, such as anger, emotional outburst, or a change of demeanor. This can happen when a person's behavior is unpredictable, moody, or disproportionate to the situation and can cause the other person to feel constantly on guard and afraid of saying or doing the wrong thing. You are constantly worried about what to say or what to do, and you avoid offending or try to avoid offending them or upsetting them. As they are unpredictable, their mood can change suddenly, going from loving and calm to angry or aggressive in an instant. So you avoid expressing yourself. This could make you feel that you can't be yourself or express your feelings. In some cases, this can lead to isolating yourself from friends and family because you're upsetting the person. Basically, you live all the time in fear of upsetting. Those are my answers.
Thank
Thank you.
you very much, Manjula, for that beautiful answers. We have one more person to answer. In summary, for the takeaway from what Manjula has said, which I 100% agree, that the father, mother, brother, sister, the spouse cannot be blamed for somebody's behavior, especially if they did not cause it. But unfortunate thing is the spouse of the mentally ill person, the parents, siblings, they are the one who take the hit and they go through lot of burnout. In other words, it is a double punishment. The mentally ill person punishes the victim knowingly or unknowingly. The church, the society, neighbors also punish. Dr. Emma, could you please say what your answers are?
Thank you very
Everybody to mute the phone unless you are speaking, because from somewhere some noise is coming. Okay, go ahead, Dr. Emma.
Thank you very much, Dr. Thomas. And I want to thank Manjula for the brilliant presentation. Most of what she said is exactly what I have too. I want to say in the first instance that mood swings, which is also called bipolar, is like the wind. It's like a storm. It's unpredictable and at times it's uncontrollable. So nobody should carry the blame and nobody should bear the brunt. I think that what is needed here, I said, is family support and understanding and compassion. That is all that is needed. It's not a search for blame or who is responsible or what is this. It is entirely a complex situation that demands only compassion and understanding from everybody who is around somebody that has mood swings. And then the caregiver stress and burnouts. This is very, very important. Those who work in the area of mental health caregiving, and most people also in the medical field who deal with patients, they suffer burnouts. They can be exhausted and drained from taking care of those who are in need. And here also, there is need for encouragement and motivation from peers and from family members so that caregivers themselves will receive care and support. Number 3, faith versus mental health. Again, this is a constant area of controversy and concern. Should it be competition or cooperation and collaboration? For me, I think it's an area of cooperation and collaboration. Mental health and spirituality concerns, they overlap. And those who function in those areas needs to work together. Professional mental health caregivers and spiritual caregivers should work hand in hand. At the end of the day, all the cares, both professional mental health caregiving and spiritual or pastoral, they are all God's gift for the healing of anybody who is being challenged mentally or spiritually. Then walking the eggshell, that's number 4. This again is a very, very slippery area because you cannot know how to handle somebody who is emotionally disturbed, who is traumatized. There is little or nothing you can do to avoid stepping on toes. Even good intentions and good caregiving can unknowingly and unintentionally provoke unexpected reactions. So here I say that emotional reactions in mental health, it can occur in relationships where one person's instability or anger causes others to feel anxious and cautious and emotionally drained. The only solution here for me is healthy communication and setting of boundaries in the management of such situations. These are the few additions I wish to make to what Manjula has already said. Thank you so much.
Doctor, if anybody's mic is open, please mute. Please mute the phone if you are not speaking. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. Biju, do you like to add anything or?
I just got in. Sorry for the late. So you want me to go through all the questions or how is that?
Just anything, just a summary, just a brief, maybe at least the one.
I'm sorry. The first question is, can we blame spouse, friends and family if someone has mood swings problem? The answer is yes and no. Because there is a role that everybody has to play in the family if someone has mood swings. So everybody has some responsibility, but you cannot completely blame the other person. So you have to, but everybody in the family need to be educated how to handle that person with the mood swing. Otherwise, even if that person is completely healed, you send them back to the same household. If they don't know how to take care of that person, it can again become worse. So it's very important. So next question, can caregiver of a family, a mentally ill person experience stress and burnout? Yes, caregivers are human beings and they will, you can see how they get upset and angry and they cannot hold for too long. Their behavior can change. It's possible. Why faith in God's superpower has conflict with mental health treatments? That's a very big topic because people believe that a demonic possession can be cast out by prayer. But this is how I look at it. sometimes therapy and surgery. In some cases, therapy is enough. In some cases, you need surgery. In some cases, you need pre-surgery therapy, then surgery, and post-surgery therapy. So even if something is demonic and they can be cast out in prayer and faith, they still need some therapy. So you need both, even in such cases. The biggest problem is some people only do one thing and the other thing is missing. But certain cases cannot be healed by therapy alone. Sometimes you're talking about years and years, and prayer. That is why our faith, Christian counseling comes. Prayer plus mental health treatments can help. I know many people, at least 2-3 people, doctors said lifelong they have to take medication, but because of faith and prayer, after some time, they were able to stop it and they are doing perfectly fine. So you need both for some time at least. And some cases you may hear they did not take any treatments, but sometimes they become lifelong mental patients also. So sometimes you need a good combination of both. What is your understanding about walking on eggshells in relation to mental health? Yes. If you have a person who has a mental problem, then you have to be very careful because one behavior from your side can make things worse. That one lack of patience, that one word that you say, that one response from you can really like pouring oil into a fire. So it's very important that others in the household are very educated and very careful in every action, and they have to respect that person and do not treat that person like a burden or a headache, but just treat them just like everybody else. Because if there are 2 kids in the family and one has a problem, most of the time the other child is respected and everybody loves the other child, and this child who has a problem is always put down. I know direct examples how that makes them so worse. They run away sometimes. So be very careful that we love such people maybe a little more. So it's very important. Yeah, that's it.
Right. Thank you, Pastor Biju, for that points. And I'll be touching on most of the points little late as I proceed with the class.
Thank you.
Many people are confused with the behavior of certain people, spouse, children, or neighbors or co-workers. There is similarity, there is distinction between the personality disorder and the mental illness. Both are same to some extent, but there are differences. I like to say a few points very quickly so that you understand the difference and give the help to the people. Just a summary of what it is personality disorder. The usual onset time is between the age of 10 to 19. It's not written on the stone. It can be 9, it can be 20. It is what the World Health Organization come to conclude. On the other side, mental illness can happen at any age. Child very early or very late. The duration, personality disorder is enduring and long lasting. Mental illness can be short term or long term. The nature of these two are pervasive patterns of thinking and behavior that are inflexible and unhealthy. So, in other words, if your spouse, your children, your parents have this problem, living with them is very unhealthy. On the other please mute the phone. Please mute the phone. On the other side, mental illness have episodes. It happens, what comes and goes. For example, bipolar disorder. Sometimes they are very fine, and sometimes they go out of hand. It can be morning and evening. It can be days apart. It can be weeks apart. The people with personality disorders are egocentric, self-centered. I am what I am, and what I say is the final word. Because they don't see their behavior as a problem. So here is the thing we need to understand. If a spouse, if the children, parents have a personality disorder, if one of them come to you as a caretaker, you may be a clergy, you may be a church leader. When you go and ask the other person, they will never accept. So what happens? You in turn start blaming the other person. Means either you are telling not the truth or you cause the problem. But as you study more, as you learn more, you may not do that. So we have to be extremely careful, because the personality disorder people will never accept they have a problem. And mental illness people, ego dystonic, where the person is distressed by their symptoms. And many of them accept they have a problem. So that's the difference. Doesn't mean all will accept it. At least a good number of people will accept they have a problem, but they don't know how to explain, or they may not even go for treatment. Some examples of personality disorders are borderline personality disorder, about which I have written the book, antisocial personality disorder. They don't get along with the society. Some of them may have criminal tendencies, and obsessive compulsive disorder. When it comes to mental illness, anxiety, depression, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia. And what causes this problem is what we are going to discuss later on now. The exact causes of personality disorders are complex and yet to be discovered. As I have written in one of my books, the causes, the reasons, explanations of many of these problems may take hundreds, thousands, may never be found. But so far the research found out it can be genetic predisposition. We inherited it. But please don't go and blame your husband or wife or parents. You got it from your father and mother. Don't say that, please. We don't know exactly how they got it. This is for information only. Genes, certain genes may increase the chances. Childhood experiences, traumatic or neglectful experiences in childhood can also cause. So, in summary, we don't know the exact causes. Let's hope and pray that one day the scientists, the researchers find the real causes. As last week also I said, psychology is less than 200 years old. It is still in the childhood. It has a long way to go. Now, some of the personality disorders, some of the problems which you often see, which you find hard to understand. I repeatedly tell this in my classes, please don't go and diagnose somebody because you know some symptoms. Leave that to professionals. It is like this. I have a doctorate, but that doesn't mean I can go and diagnose a cancer patient or a backache or a headache or a heart problem. That's not my field. So please, when you hear some of these symptoms and signs, don't go and analyze people and say, oh, you have this problem. Don't do that. I will just say a few problems which you often come across, which we are not aware. You may be hearing this name for the first time. So don't worry about the name. There is a diagnosis known as schizoid, SHIZOID, a pervasive pattern of detachment from social relations and relationships. They don't have good relationship. If you are married to somebody, if they don't have a good relationship with you, they are detached from other people, and their emotional expressions are not acceptable according to the standards which we know, and a lack of interest in social interactions. They may be a member of the church, but they may not join the activities. We don't have time to go into all the details, but I will just give a very brief. What they say is, I need lot of space. In other words, I need lot of space. Nobody should come near me. They are usually loners. They are intrusive, and they stay away. And also, it is a personality disorder. The other one is schizotypal, SCHICOTYPAL. Don't worry about the name, please. For them, the world is a strange place. They look at the world as a strange place. I am different than all the other people. Confusing and different. And then superstitious and disorganized. There is a confusion with this word and schizophrenia. Both have some similarity, but both are not same. We are all familiar with the word schizophrenia. It's a serious mental condition. The other one is a personality disorder. In schizophrenia and this one, both affect persons' thinking and behaviors. And confusion is part of their life. The third one is antisocial behavior, which you all know what antisocial is. People don't deserve anything from me. Some of the co-workers you have antisocial personality. Don't struggle to correct them. Some of the people in the church have that problem. I have seen people who are in the ministry have that problem. They are very good in attacking other people, deceiving other people, manipulating other people. Then the other one, personality disorder, which I have mentioned in my book, is histrionic. HISTRIONIC. Histrionic personality disorder. They have a pervasive pattern of excessive emotionality. Suddenly they become outburst. And they are very attention seeking. Glamorous and impressive. Dress well, attract. Same like the borderline. They can seduce you. That's why I always warn young people, be careful. They use dramatic, charm, and temper tantrums. They can really attract you. Don't be fooled, even if they are members of your church. They may be saying, praise the Lord 100 times. They may be first one to read the Bible. You may never know they have a histrionic personality. Be careful. Narcissistic personality, which I'm sure we all know about it. I am special. I am special and unique. And they use other people. And once they use it, they throw them out. Nobody can oppose me. If you oppose me, I'll finish you. That is narcissistic personality. Now, when somebody is a victim of this type of personalities, type of mental illness, especially with the personality disorder, if your spouse have this problem, if your children have this problem, If your brother and sister have this problem, you go and tell your friends, your churches, your neighbors. Let me tell you, with a lot of pain, 99.999, except in rare cases, they are not going to believe you. They will believe the other person. And here is a problem. Many of us, I touched upon this subject long ago. Many of us have the habit. Let me talk to your husband. Let me talk to your wife. Let me talk to your father, mother, sister, brother. If they give you permission, talk. But whatever they say, don't keep it in your mind and deal with the victim. Because I believe that is sin. Because you are accusing somebody of things which they did not do. Unless and until you walk in their shoes, you cannot understand. Before you judge a man, walk a mile in his shoes. I will repeat. Before you judge a man, walk a mile in his shoes. That is why I keep on telling. I told you so many times, I repeat again. Be careful when you ask somebody to adjust. They may have done everything in their human brain possible to adjust with their spouse, their children, their parents. They have no more to go. They have nowhere to going. Did somebody raise the hand asking something or just a mistake? All right. So, you know that famous quote from Mary till Latran in 1895, we have to practice. What we need is empathy, which we already discussed. We should avoid judging. If you don't know what it is, if you cannot understand, just leave it. There are so many problems we don't know. We are not superhumans. I don't know. I told many things, many times to my people, I don't know. I have to ask somebody, especially those who are in the ministry, those who are in the church active. Be very careful. We are not superhumans. We don't know. Just accept it. But empathy should be your goal. Avoid judgment and approach through understanding. We need you have wisdom. You will never really understand a person until you consider things from his or her point of view. Until you climb inside of that person's skin and walk around it. You may have read the book To Kill a Mockingbird. I think those who studied English, maybe this is one of the textbooks. It is written in that. My wife is laughing because she studied that. In other words, walk a mile in my shoes. So anybody is being accused, them as the creator of the problem, tell the other person, please walk in my shoes. During a mood swing, please stay calm and listen. Argument is not going to help. Never it's going to help. Don't take it personally. Somehow God allowed it to happen to you. So don't take it personally. When I say don't take it personally, is it easy? No. Extremely difficult. You need to empathize and validate the other person's feeling if you can. It's difficult when you are struggling with a lot of questions inside your heart. Showing empathy and validating their feelings is very difficult. Try as much as you can. Pray to God for His mercy. When they are out of their mood swing, ask them what they need. Sometimes walk away from them. Don't get hurt. Sometimes you yourself take a break. How can you manage long-term situations? If your son or daughter have this problem, if your husband or wife has this problem, let me tell you, it is extremely difficult. I told in the beginning, I told many times, the reason why I spend this time, spend so many hours, like today after coming from church, I think 3-4 hours I was preparing. Yesterday I was preparing because I have seen the terrible pain and the cries of so many people in my offices and in my home. Try your best to communicate to them. Establish boundaries. You have to tell this is what it is. But some religious people may say, show them love, agree what they are saying. No, don't do that. Because you are feeding into their sickness. It may be your daughter, it may be your son. It may be your husband, it may be your wife. Set boundaries. This is it. I am not going further. Encourage your self-care. You take care of yourself. What makes you happy, you do it. But at the same time, support the other person whatever you can. Try to focus on the positive side. You can suggest to professional help. But from my experience, I can tell you, except very few, except maybe a handful out of 1,000, they will tell you, you go and see a doctor, not me. Many pastors have told me, many clergies have told me, they don't take the treatment. Well, there is nothing much you can do. That is where the fellowship church as a family should come to support this family. Don't blame them. Support the victim because the victim is between the devil and the deep blue sea. You remember the Bible story? On one side, Pharaoh's army. In front is a roaring sea. So don't add more pain to them. At least call them aside and say, I see your pain. I see your pain. Don't support the person who has sickness in a negative way. Support that person, encourage, pray with them, help them. But don't tell in front of them, you have to love that person, love this person, because they can misinterpret all that. Be careful what you use it. What causes mood swing? It can be hormonal fluctuations, menopause, premenstrual syndrome, or many other factors. Stressful life events, sleep deprivation, substance abuse. Certain medication can cause temporary problems, thyroid problems, bipolar problem. So if your spouse or some children or somebody may have this type of problem, take them to a medical doctor, check them for the thyroid, check them, take them to a psychologist, psychiatrist, somehow encourage them. Who knows, they may have bipolar disorder, which has medications, underlying factor. The symptoms of mood swings are intense emotions, outburst, happy one day, next day crying. Their energy keep on changing, feeling energized or exhausted. Sometimes they are over enthusiastic. Sometimes they are very tired. They have difficulty in concentrating and making decisions. So try to make decisions in the home. If your husband is a sick person, don't depend on him for making decisions. If he is in a nice mood, ask him. If he is in a bad mood, stay away from him or her or children. Sleep is very important. Insomnia, excessive sleeping also can cause problems. Have you seen some people sleep all the time? They may have so many factors. Irritability and impatience is very common with these people. Very irritable. They are impatient. If they come and sit in the church, if the sermon goes beyond 20 minutes, 25 minutes, they may get up, go, bang the door. So in that situation, try to sit on the back seat. There are changes in appetite or activities. In an emotionally abusive dynamic situation, a partner with the mood swings will blame or may blame the victim spouse, the one who is taking care of that person, and tell why you are avoiding taking responsibility for your action. In other words, you are the cause of this problem. The manipulation happens. Blame shifting. In other words, their problem, they're transferred to the other person. Or the other word which we can use, you all are familiar with this, gaslighting. Then what happened? The victim, parents, brothers, sisters, husband, wife, victim, they start questioning their own life. They internalize the blame. What I have written in my book, My Life in the Stormy Sea, Vincent, for a long time thought he is the cause of the problem. He rejected himself because that is what the other person told. The abuser, the person with the problem, maintains power and control by telling the victim, the pastor, the neighbors, co-workers, she is the cause of my problem. If you don't have training, you will believe it because they are so nice in manipulating. I can tell you, my friends, it breaks my heart if you or anybody, including me, blame the victim. In other words, you are putting kerosene on them and putting fire. You are adding coal to the fire which is already burning. They are very good in shifting the blame. They are very good in manipulating and convincing you, telling you, Pastor, my friend, my uncle, my auntie, I am 100% correct. She or he caused all the problem. So before you go to a troubled family, pray. I will even advise, fast and pray before you go. Because one word can create problem. The psychological reasons why an abuser blames their partner. We got only a few more minutes. I will try to run as fast as I can. They lack accountability. They don't take accountability. They don't take responsibility. They need to control the other person. Then only they can enjoy their behavior. They avoid consequences because they will convince the nearby people, I am not the problem. She or he is the problem. And they want to hide their unresolved mental health condition. That is why I plead with the churches. I beg with the churches. I beg with the clergy, beg with the governments. Take some actions from your side. Few more minutes. Religions do not accept certain medical treatments. As you know, Jehovah's Witness rejection of blood transfusion, or Christian Scientists prefer prayer over medicine, or the churches, religions emphasize lot of faith-based healing. I am not against it. I am all for it. But be very careful. Some believes that the medicine is devil's weapon. That's where my problem comes. Some clergy, some churches, some religious organizations, they think all the other people are crazy. Only we who know the truth, nothing but the truth from the religious book, whatever may be your religion, that's where the problem happened. And some people are allergic to certain treatments. They are afraid of things like pork or certain things in the medications. We already covered this subject before, but I'll just touch. Spiritual interpretation of illness is the biggest problem because we don't interpret. The creation, the fall of man, and the redemption. We have to see everything together, which we already touched. I am not going to repeat it because lack of time. I said so many times, coming of Jesus was for our mental health also. Isaiah chapter 61, Luke chapter 4, verse 18. Because he came to heal the sick and help the brokenhearted. If somebody says, I will pray, what I tell them, you can pray, but don't force other people to understand and accept your faith. They have a right to go for treatment. But pray with them. What Dr. Emma has said, Manjula has said, Biju has said, we don't need to fight with each other. Pray for one another. I am all for churches spending once a week, once a month, a day of prayer for such people. Why? We need to get out of stigma and the shame. If it is a personality disorder, your husband or your wife, your children have it, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. All what I say is, unless you cause the trauma, and such things happen, but take some training how to deal with the people. The churches should invite people like anybody trained in mental health to help the congregation to understand and care for the victims. It's part of the ministry. It is just like you are having a convention. It's equally important. Misinterpretation of symptoms often happen. And lastly, I will just touch on it. Caregiver, that's why the question and answer session, we covered some of these things. Caregiver stress, I will give some examples. Normal physical and mental strain of caregiving responsibilities. It is not only for the mentally ill people, caregiving, even physical people. People have told me, those who are taking care of the cancer patient, dementia, so many other problems, the caregiver gets stressed out. But when it comes to the burnout, a state of severe physical, mental, emotional exhaustion from prolonged stress, build-up happens in their life. Usually stress can be temporary, but the burnout may be able to destroy you also. Persistent and can lead for a long time. What is the takeaway from it? If anyone in your church, family, neighborhood, having this type of problem and you know they are suffering, take them under your wings, just like a mother animal take care of the small one. Walking on eggshells, especially with personality disorder, is extremely difficult. No matter how much you try, I may take another 2-3 minutes. No matter how much you try not to break, it can happen. because they are extremely manipulative. I read in one book, I may have told here or anywhere. In America, I heard it happens everywhere. One wife was borderline personality, abusing the husband very badly, physical, mental. He wanted to call 911. As he was coming through the step, the abuser came down through the railings, fell down, called 911 and said, he pushed me. Now you tell me who got arrested? The victim. Because the abuser had injuries. But the victim is 100% innocent. But the abuser now became the person who got help from the police. So in closing, all I can tell is, we must be careful as much as possible not to offend, but the church family has to support the victim. The neighbor has to support. Unfortunately, it is not happening. And that is one purpose of this class. Let the churches, the society become more active in understanding this problem. Because people who are walking on the eggshells have extremely difficult time. Lastly, let me say one word from the Bible. Luke chapter 6, verse 36. Be merciful, just as your Father is merciful. Mercy is the heartbeat of God's love for us. The steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His mercies never come to an end. They are new every morning. Lamentations chapter 3, verse 22-23. Before I close, let me say this as a last word. Living with personality disorder, mental illness, is a big task. If you run away, you are done. If you stay, you are done. And I hope and I wish our society wake up and understand these realities and give a helping hand, not only to the victim, even to the other person. If they refuse treatment, there is nothing much you can do. Like there are laws in all the places. If they don't harm you, they don't harm themselves, they cannot be forced for treatment. So this is the extreme difficult situation. So I plead with all of you, take this subject very seriously. Work with the faith community, medical professionals. And God bless you, and God bless you abundantly. And I will stop the recording now, and then please stay for 5 minutes, 3 minutes, then you can go.